recording now. This way I can post it and you can review your notes. If I go fast, you can just hit the recording.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if I go through your projects in order, your dice are like 99% there. Let's talk about the 1%. In 2 of the 3, you're just missing 1 edge loop. And I would strive for consistency between distances from the edge to your edge loop. So just try to make it consistent. Like you can see, those are 3 different distances. The one that was good was this one right here. You can see this is fairly consistent with the distances to each, and you have 1 on every edge loop. So just be mindful that you're doing that and just strive for consistency. The reason that this has this funky little indent is because if I go to material attributes for this particular one, and I look at the bump mapping, you're linked into the Photoshop file, but then you're using the whole composite. And there's a UV map on the top, which is giving you these UV seams. So if we change this just to the bump, that would get rid of that seam and just the bump that you want. So like I said, you're so close. Just get that last 1% there, and you're done. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's great. No, it's just because sometimes when I'm adding edge loops, sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure if I've done every corner, and then I'm trying to make sure that the dice isn't as sharp.
So look at this pattern here, like Cubert. See how there's like a cube right there?
Yeah.
Every corner you have to see that little Cubert cube. And that way you know you got enough edge loops. You need 3 on each. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's enough.
Oh.
On the other ones where there wasn't one, you only had 2, and there wasn't one in one direction. So be mindful, go around your model, and that flows into everything. That goes into the next thing I want to talk about, which is your peg or your clothespin. So here, as soon as you no longer have quads and you try to insert an edge loop, it's not going to work. It's only going to insert an edge loop where there's quads. And as soon as it sees, we call a face with more than 4 an n-gon, n meaning more than 4. So when it hits an n-gon, it's just going to stop working. But when it's in happy quad land, it wraps all the way around. And we want to stay with quads as long as possible. You see, if I select this face here and I double-click this face, it selects all the way around the model. And this makes selection very quick. Same with edges. If I select this edge and I double-click the edge above it, it selects all the way around the model. So we want to keep this edge flow, we call it, just to make our life easy. Now, in this case where you're missing it in some, there is a quick fix. We can take all these faces here and delete them. And now we've got a pretty much a perfect profile 2D version. And then if we just, in object mode, let me go center pivot and then hit extrude. And then I can give it some depth. Oh, I'm just going to switch to world mode and bring it up. And now we have all of our edge flow. And it smooths out. We're still missing a couple edge loops. Just like that Cubert dice I showed you on the front and the back, we need it on all of our edges. So it's going to be here and it's going to be here. You see that same pattern?
Yeah.
Even though it's a little slanted? You see that little Cubert corner? That's what I'm looking for all the way around the model, so that when it smooths out, you get this nice little bevel and hard surface mixed together, and you get this all looks good. You're 99% there. We're just talking about your 1% that needs a little improvement.
Yeah, it's just sometimes. Yeah, I find it difficult. Just at certain points, I'm wondering, did I put an edge lip there, and then.
So you're going to look for that pattern I showed you, right?
Yeah.
This pattern here, there it is. We're going to go for consistency on that little Cubert corner, but that's the only thing you're missing. So let's take, do you have any questions about those first 2 assignments? Because they're kind of the same assignment, just more advanced.
Yeah, no, so just to double check, so for the peg, obviously we're looking for that pattern on each corner, but is that on every corner of the model or just the end, like?
On square corners, yes. On square corners that are doing 90 degrees. Now, I showed an advanced version of this same model, and it's in the recordings. And if you're new to modeling, I recommend you do it. That's where we had an edge loop, where we did the flat version. If I back up to where we were doing the flat.
I've seen it, yeah.
Where I connect an edge loop that goes from here to here, and that makes the floor of these parts.
Yeah, that was last week's, wasn't it?
That's like the black belt version of this model. And especially if you want to try doing things like cars and stuff like that later, let's definitely get that slightly more advanced one under your belt first.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that can be a model you can work on, you know, between now and the next submission. Let's take a look at your lantern. And by the way, way better reference image on your lantern.
Yeah.
The perspective is gone. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I did. I think I just took it at, like, it was an up angle, and it didn't help me at all.
And I'm going to change gears and look at your pawn. See how your pawn image that you chose has that angle that we got rid of the first time?
Yeah.
So I just want you to be able to see what I'm looking at, and when I tell you it's good or bad, you already know what it's good or bad. Just pick good reference images in the future. So I just wanted to contrast that one to this before I started critiquing this one.
Yeah.
Saying that it's going to be hard to pull a profile. You kind of have to average it. I think you probably went light on the number of edge loops. Although this is going to be very easy to unwrap, it's going to have a lot of stretching on the texture when it does smooth out. And you can kind of see that if you go to the UV texture editor. Nice layout, by the way. That's a really good video game layout. That's the automatic mapping, and then you just kind of spaced everything. If you are going to do stuff like this, you can like be more efficient, like put stuff in stuff like that. And
just for space-wise, or is it just? This is
all dead space.
Yeah.
So how much space did you use? There's a more efficient layout, but in my lesson I also showed some other unwrapping. There is distortion, but you have a lot of seams here. If I was to show your seams. Do you see all, and I'm pressing this button here to show your seams.
Yes.
See where all these border seams are? And if you're trying to paint across something or make like a texture run across the model, it looks like Frankenstein. So you're better off choosing a seam in the back and keep like a pretty side of the model. Just like everyone has their good side, I don't know which one. Some of us are blessed with 2 good sides. Some of us got 2 bad sides. Your model's going to have a bad side and a good side, and then you're going to show its good side, like with a seam in the back, as one way to model. You do what you want to do. I would do less pieces. I'm sorry. I would put a couple more edge loops in.
Yeah.
And like maybe here, and then you could take this edge loop here, and you could delete it, you know, using the proper delete method. You're gonna have to redo this UV layout anyway. There's gonna be stretching, and if you are gonna lay out a UV, see the frequency vertically. See how it's a high frequency, and then that frequency drops to a low frequency. So we know we're gonna have stretching around the model this way, but try to keep the stretching on the model this way consistent. If you are gonna do something like a Frankenstein or in other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just being super critical. This is fine. This gets an A by me. If I'm going to take you to the next level, I just want you to be able to see what.
Yeah, no, the only. Yeah, no, that's perfect. No, it's just because the only thing I've really had trouble with is actually the UV texture editor at the minute. And
we're going to do more organic and UV stuff, and this border's organic. So let's just worry about modeling, and then we'll follow back up with some more UV stuff later. So you're doing great. Just make sure stuff like this is connected, and yeah, this is fine by me. If you stick to 8, it's going to be easier to unwrap. I know you got a lot more than 8 here, but you were probably starting off with a primitive that had more than 8.
Yeah.
But maybe try 12.
It's actually, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that.
Or try 16. Don't go right to 22 or to 40.
Yeah, no, it's because that's the one thing I do. When I actually create the primitive at first, I completely forget to change the subdivisions, and then by that stage I've already modeled it, and I'm like, damn, I can't change it now.
You can go out and you can like take out every other one here. You can go edge, and you can go, and see here, I can see that when you were deleting edges, you weren't using this tool. you were just using your delete button. So make sure you use the delete edge vertex button because it takes out these little left behind verts as well as their connecting edge.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, because we I in the middle. Yeah, because I realized that that's the reason. That was actually my first attempt.
Yeah.
And I kind of just left it there, and then the second pawn is actually a completely different model that I tried.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know all kinds of good stuff. If just to take it to the next level, I'm just going to go ahead here and take this out and see. Look, now we've got a slightly simpler model. Even though you had started more complex, now we're down to that 12-sided thing.